Hello, this is Dr. Do again. This video is outside of medicine, continuing the book of Proverbs. I have finished chapter 17. If you recall, the book of Proverbs are the words of Solomon, and especially start from chapter 10. It says the Proverbs of Solomon. So I'm going to start chapter 18, and I'm going to read it first. An unfriendly man pursues selfish ends. He defies all sound judgment. A fool finds no pleasure in understanding, but delights in airing his own opinion. When wickedness comes, so does contempt, and with shame comes disgrace. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters, but the fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. It is not good to be partial to the wicked, or to deprive the innocent of justice. A fool's lips bring him strife, and his mouth invites a beating. A fool's mouth is his undoing, and his lips are a snare to his soul. The words of gossip are like choice mussels. They go down to a man's inmost parts. One who is slack in his work is brother to one who destroys. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. The wealth of the rich is their fortified city. They imagine it an unscalable wall. Before his downfalls, a man's heart is proud, but humility comes before honor. So I'm going to stop here and continue next time. Basically, I think this chapter 18 talks a lot about the words, the lips, the tongues, and so unfriendly man pursues selfish ends, and he defies all sound judgment. So this is saying the unfriendly man refers to those selfish, and which means it's no good. A fool finds no pleasure in understanding, but delights in airing his own opinions. So this is talk about those, like previously, if you recall, David also mentioned, do not like a muse, just loud talk without understanding. So this is probably the same thing. If a person who does not understand, and then just delights in airing his own opinions, which means it's no use, just like a blowing wind. So just talking about understand and sometimes listen instead of just speak. When wickedness comes, so does contempt, and with shame comes disgrace. So this is the same idea, saying evil or schematic plot, or the shame with the disgrace. And start from here, talk about the words. The words of man's mouth are deep waters, but the fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. Which means, so both the words of man's mouth are deep waters, and the fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook, which means they both are very important. It doesn't say good words or bad words. I assume it's good words of man's mouth are deep waters. Or bad words of the man, also deep waters. So deep waters, if you imagine, can do both two things. To raise up the sail, navigation. Without deep water, the cruise or the ship cannot sail. But if too deep waters can overturn the sail. So this deep waters, the words of man's mouth are deep waters, can save or can destroy. But the fountain of wisdom is bubbling brooks. But the wisdom is really like bubbling brooks, which means always dynamic or vigorous, with strength, I guess. It is not good to be partial to the wicked or to deprive the innocent of justice. So this is saying that judge justice, and to really judge with wisdom, not partial to the wicked. A fool's lips bring him strife, and his mouth invites a beating. So this again talk about the words, talk about the language, the tongues. The words of gossip are like choice muscles. They go down to a man's inmost parts. So this talk about the words of gossips. Could be positive praise or could be bad, evil. But regardless, the words, sometimes the gossips really can deep into the listener's heart. There's a saying that the random words from the speaker probably really took in the heart for the listener. I think this is probably the same idea. Those listening ears could really absorb the words, either good or bad. One who is slack in his work is brother to one who destroys, which means the slack work is kind of sluggish and not pay attention, not work hard. Probably is another word for destroy. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are saved. Again, they talk about this is the faith. The wisdom starts with the belief of God, I think, a fear of God. The wealth of the rich is their fortified city. They imagine it on scalable walls. So this is for those who are rich, they think that it's everything. Before its downfall, a man's heart is proud. Humility comes before honor. It's talk about the proud arrogance versus modest and humility. So this is about the first part of chapter 18. I'm just going to read another paragraph and left the rest of chapter 18 with chapter 19. He who answers before listening, that is his folly and his shame. A man's spirit sustains him in sickness, but crushed spirit who can bear? The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seek it out. A gift opens the way for the giver, and ushers him into presence of great. So this after the previous paragraph. Now, he who answers before listening, that is his folly and his shame. So which means the words of swift or fast, without thinking, sometimes really do a lot of harm. Not only no good, but it's really harmful. So which means be careful with the words. He who answers before listening is a man's spirit sustain him in sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear. So this talk about the optimal view and high spirit, even though in the sickness, if the happy heart, if a happy spirit can sustain the life, but a crushed spirit who can bear? So nobody can bear the crushed spirit, which means sorrow written on the face. The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge. The ear of the wise seek it out. So this is saying the wisdom and also discerning. A gift opens the way for the giver and ushers him into the presence of the great. This is talk about the gift for the giver. And previously, I think if you recall, the briber is always associated with the success. So this gift is also associated with this, ushers him into the presence of the great. So this is about if you recall, Jacob, when he met Esau after wandering to Laban's home, and he presented all the flocks in front of his family. So that's probably serving the same purpose, the same idea. So now I'm going to stop here and continue next time. Thank you for watching.